money and repaid her with bad checks. Floyd is countersuing, claiming Naomi dislocated his knee.
Ms. Ravello, you and Mr. Turner had a relationship. You claimed two things. First, you claimed that he borrowed some money from you. He repaid the money with some checks. And the first time he went to cash the checks, the first check bounced. So he still owes you that money. He never went back to cash the rest of the checks. And in addition to the bad checks, it is your claim that Mr. Ravello assaulted you. You have certain medical bills that you want him to pay for, as well as paying for the pain and suffering that you endured as a result of this assault. Mr. Turner says that the bad checks were a bank error, having nothing to do with him, and that the assault on you was nothing compared to what you did to him, that you actually assaulted him with a dangerous instrument, your car. When he was attempting to get out of your car, you sped away, causing him serious physical injury. He is counterclaiming. Is that correct, sir? Let's deal with the loan first. So let's get rid of simple things first. So I'm going to go to you, Mr. Turner, because there are certain things that are stated fact. You seem to acknowledge in your answer that you borrowed money from Miss Ravello.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you borrow the money for?
It was different reasons, like I needed certain things like the truck,
You have
my
to keep
brakes,
your voice up, Mr. Turner,
I'm
because
sorry.
I don't like to strain. When I strain, I get lines on my face. When I get lines on my face, my producer doesn't like it.
Okay. Well, yeah, different things, like brakes for my car. I needed that done. I needed the down payment on the mortgage, on rent too, on the apartment we had together. That's little things like that.
How much did you owe her?
Probably $400, $500, something like that.
Was it 4 or 5?
$550.
$550. And you gave her checks?
Yes, ma'am, I did. When she went to cash the checks, what had happened with that was I went to go to the bank, get the money. When she took me back, we was arguing in the car.
Just a second. Do you still owe her the $550, Mr. Turner?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You know, I'm a bottom line girl. Life is short, and I have other things to do today. So on your side, you get $550 because he gave you a bunch of bad checks. So you get that money. Now tell me the date of this assault.
May 19 was the first one.
May 19th of what year?
06.
And were you together after May 19th of 06?
Yes.
How much after?
Till August 2nd.
Of what year?
06.
From May 19th of 06 to August 2nd of 06, did you live together?
Off and on, yes. We had an apartment. He lived with his mom and I lived with my dad, and we had shared an apartment.
And did you go out for dinner?
No.
Did you share a bedroom?
Yes.
I'm not interested in the assault on May 19th of 06.
That was the most important one.
Well, wouldn't have stayed after the first one. But we're talking about an incident that happened over a year ago. Why didn't you sue him before? Why did you stay with him? Why did you live with him? Why did you sleep with him? Why did you eat with him after he assaulted you? You don't let a man put their hands on you and then come in a year later and wake up and say, well, now I'd like some money. Were you hospitalized?
No.
The assault you cross off to, I should have been smarter. I'm old enough to have been smarter than to let somebody put their hands on me more than once. When was this assault that you're complaining about, Mr. Turner?
In August 2006.
August what?
6. When she hurt my knee, we had seen each other 3 days prior to that, okay? And 3 days after that, I get a letter from the sheriff saying that she had a restraining order on me. I'm like to myself, well, why is that?
Well, after the incident in the car in August, you did not live together anymore.
Oh, after August, I get, the sheriff came to the apartment and gave me a letter saying I had to evict the premises, which, okay.
After August, Mr. Ravello.
Yes.
When you had this incident that Mr. Turner is going to talk to me about,
Yes.
madam. Did you live together?
No.
So the relationship was over?
Ended.
Fine. Now, Mr. Turner, I'm going to see absolutely fair a jurist I am. I'm not going to entertain her old assault case after she took you back and lived with you and schmutchkied with you and everything. Not interested. But I'm going to hear your version of what happened in August, because after that, there was no more relationship.
True. Okay, now.
Okay, you gave her bad checks.
Right.
She was annoyed that you gave her bad checks. So she picked you up in her car?
Right. I was
to
told
go to the bank.
Right.
That's what you say in your answer.
Right.
So now you're in the car, on the way to the bank, going to fix up this problem with the bad checks, and you have an argument.
Okay.
So far, am I telling the story almost like I was there, right?
Okay. I told
Now,
her, hey,
tell me what you said to her and what she said to you.
I told her, look, I don't want to escalate the problem anymore. Let me out the car. When we get to the next stop sign, we'll deal with this later, when we both calm down.
What was she saying to you?
Just going off about different things. Like, no, we're going to go now to the bank, blah, 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 this and that. I'm like, well, you know what? If we're going to go with this kind of attitude, things already heated up. It's best that we both calm down and wait until another day. When she came to a stop sign, I'm like, I'm going to get out. I opened the door, let my leg out, She takes off with my leg out the door and pop my knee out of place. Okay, she ended up stopping. Wait, I gets out, end up walking into my apartment. Okay, so when I get out the car, go back in my house, I noticed that something was bothering my knee. I couldn't put like pressure on it. Okay, so then she came back to the apartment. She said, "No, I'm sorry. I'll take you to the hospital." Well, I said,
Does that sound familiar to you?
Some of it.
Okay. And did you go to the hospital?
"Yes, ma'am, I did."
Can I see the report, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will have a chance to say my version of that, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And some of those bills, Your Honor, it started in collections because I was told not to contact her, but I was saying to myself, I don't think I should be responsible for those bills.
What was the date of this, sir?
August
2nd.
2nd, yeah, something like in there. So
You might
if we
see
had,
bills on there for other things because he has gone to the emergency room for
Well,
other
I
things,
see,
many
I
other
see,
things.
I see that
for
they
at-risk.
x-rayed his knee on August 4th, 2 days later. 2 days
I
later.
didn't
And I
take
see
him
that
to
the
the hospital.
emergency
she didn't take
room...
me to the hospital. I went myself. No, she didn't take me to the emergency room.
I thought you said she came back to take you to the emergency
She
room.
didn't take me. No.
Just a second. So she came back to take you to the
And I did
emergency
not go with her. Right. I did not.
Oh,
right.
well,
I
you
didn't want.
didn't
I
go
didn't
with
want,
her.
Right. I didn't want nothing. Why am I gonna go with you to the hospital and you just drove and take my leg? Excuse me. Took my leg out.
Okay.
And one more question.
So you waited... When did you go to seek a protective order? On what date?
I got a restraining order on August 2nd.
Let me see what you wrote when you petitioned the court for a protective order. You told him that he assaulted you in July. You were telling me something that happened in May.
May 19th was the assault, and August 2nd was the second assault.
You don't say anything to the court about August. Shh.
Sorry.
You say that on July 28th at 5:18, he grabbed my arms, leaving bruises. Fear made that he may pull a gun on me. While I was driving, he unlocked the door, opened it, and exited. Miss Ravello.
Yes.
When we started this hearing, you said to me the bad assault was May 19th, 2006.
Yes.
Okay? Then you go to the police and you tell the police that something happened to you on July 28th, 2006, that he grabbed you and left bruises. But you just happened to go there on August 2nd, the day he got injured in the car. That sounds a lot to me like you're covering your tracks, madam.
Okay.
Whew.
All right.
Woo. Tell me you.
I'm a little...
You tell me you. There's a paper trail. The paper trail is clear. And what you told me was clear.
Well, on August 2nd, we started going to the bank because of a bounce check. And he didn't want to go to the bank, and I wanted to go to the bank. So he was in the car, and he unlocked the door and exited while my car was going. So he exited out of the car, and then I stopped. Then I went back to the house. We argued. He grabbed my arms again. That was the second domestic violence incident.
You say absolutely nothing about that here in your application. You say that when he grabbed you, that was on July 28th.
It's not true, Your Honor.
I don't want you to speak.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I might have some date. It was like all around that time. I'm
No.
sorry.
What happened was
at that
you got frightened that you hurt him. You got frightened when he opened the door. He put one foot out the door and you took off. You were so furious you took off.
No, I was driving at the time, and he
Listen
unlocked.
to me. Listen to me, Miss Ravello. Mr. Turner isn't an idiot. Looks like a smart enough guy that would not get out of a moving car.
But he did.
No, I don't believe that. What I believe happened was you were furious. And he said, stop the car, let me out of the car. You may have slowed down. And then he put his foot out of the door and you took off and you were furious. But then you got worried.
I
then
was
you got
worried.
worried that you hurt him.
I did. I
And
was
then you
worried.
went back and he said to you, get out of here. I don't want your help. And you said, I better get me to the police station and file for a protective order. And you tell them in the protective order something that happened days before that caused you to come to court and seek a protective order. And when you come to court here, you tell me that he assaulted you and he hurt you May 19th, 3 months before.
He did.
Okay.
I had serious
Fine.
bruises all over my body from that incident.
In May?
Yes, May 19th was horrible. It was a horrible night.
Then you should not have stayed with him, madam. You should not have
I know.
stayed with him, slept with him, eaten with him.
Well, there's the
partied
I'm
with him.
sorry thing. There's
Well,
the I
I'm sorry
love you.
too.
I'm sorry.
too. You get your $550 back, but I'm going to take a look at his medical bills because I believe that you caused the injury to him that happened on May 2nd.
But he exited while I was driving.
Mr. Vello, I don't believe you. It's as simple as that, my dear.
Ariana, can I say something else, please?
If you want to.
When I went back to the apartment, all of my stuff was in the alley. My clothes, everything. I get a phone call from one of her neighbors saying that, Turner, you better get back to the apartment. Hey, man, your stuff is in the alleys for the pickings. Everything I owned in the apartment was in the alley. I didn't get a chance to get nothing.
Why'd you throw his stuff away for?
Because we were being evicted because the landlord in front, he filed an indecency report because he parties a lot.
Just a second. When were you evicted from the apartment?
I'm sorry.
When were you evicted from the apartment? On what date?
I'm so nervous. I don't have that. I know it. The police evicted us on August 7th. I have it here. I'm going to get it together here because I was wrong here.
Just a second.
August 7th.
Go back and find your stuff in the alley.
That same day. And I called the police department because they told me if I came back over there, they're going to arrest me. So I called back and told them.
You had no reason to put his stuff in the alley.
There was a restraining order. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave the apartment. There was things involved that I don't want to say right now.
I don't. Just a second. Listen to me. I'm asking you why you threw his things in the alley.
Because he wouldn't leave.
Listen to me. The fact that you put him out after he lived with you, you're entitled to do that. Things don't work out.
Right.
He's got to leave. Thank you for agreeing with me. Keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
You have no right to take his belongings and throw them away. You have the responsibility to put them in a box.
I did.
No.
I brought bags and I brought boxes and I packed them up and I put them behind the house. And my family helped me do that.
No way. No way. No way, madam. No way. You got a bad temper.
I
got a bad temper. He may too, but you got a bad temper. You owe him $1,566 for his medical bills. You owe him another $500 for the property that you threw away. From the money that you owe him, which is $2,066, I am deducting the $550 loan, which means on his counterclaim, you owe him $1,516. Judgment on the counterclaim for the defendant. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Anne Marie Fessler claims former roommate James Hill stole money earmarked to bail her boyfriend out of jail. James says Anne Marie is making up a story.
Miss Fessler, this young man is your boyfriend's nephew. Mm-hmm. Your boyfriend was in jail. Is he still in jail?
Yes.
What is he in jail for?
We had gotten into an argument in a restaurant parking lot, and he hit me, and the cops were called. He was locked up, and they're holding him for old warrants that he had.
Outstanding warrants for what?
One was a shoplifting charge from 95. One was a drug charge and something else. I think it has something to do with the drug charge. I'm not exactly sure what.
Do you know what he's in jail for?
Them fighting all the time, and like they're just very dysfunctional.
Well, they may be very dysfunctional, but that's not the only reason he's in jail. In any event, it is your claim that you gave him some money to bail out your boyfriend, that he didn't bail out your boyfriend, but he stole your money. And then you think he took some other money from an ATM card. Some convoluted story. In any event, Mr. Hill said, I took $600 to go and bail out my uncle that you did give him. And when he got to the prison to bail him out, it was more than that. So he gave you back your $600. He doesn't know anything about any other stolen money. He says he doesn't know why you would think that he would take property that belongs to you. Okay, Ms. Fessler, when was your boyfriend arrested for domestic violence?
November 24th of 2006.
And when did you call Mr. Hill about giving him money to go bail him out?
I called him and told him what the bail was. He told me to give him the money that I had, and he would see what he can do about getting the rest to go bail him out. I had $700 on me at the time.
Where'd you get $700 from?
Every month I get $400 from the state. They give me I'm on rental assistance and welfare. They gave me $400. We saved $200 every month for the last 3 months.
Just a second. They give you $400 for what?
For my kids from welfare every month.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
So the state gives you $400 a month to feed and take care of your children. And you save $200.
I was taking $200 out every month for my kids' Christmas, and the other $200 I was using to buy their diapers and stuff every month.
What other money comes into your house?
That's all the money that we have.
No. Impossible.
They were paying...
possible.
They were paying
You
our
are
rent.
you, the boyfriend, the 2 children, living on, according to you, $50 a week, because if they send $400 and you're saving $200, that means that the 4 of you are living on $50 a week, unless the boyfriend is selling drugs.
No, they were paying our rent also. We were getting rental assistance too from welfare. They were also paying our rent, and that was $800 a month that they were paying for us.
So they're paying rent. That still leaves you $50 a week to
We were
feed.
also receiving food stamps from them too. We were getting $500 in food stamps too.
So were you selling those?
No,
What were you doing with them?
buying food and formula for my son and my daughter.
And what was the boyfriend doing?
He was trying to find a job
When was the last time he actually found a job?
in the summertime.
Doing what?
He was working for a trucking company.
And what happened to that job?
He lost his job because he was late too many days.
Why was he late?
Because I was sick, I was pregnant, so he was staying home to help take care of me and my daughter while I was pregnant with my son.
But you had been receiving welfare for a long time, right?
Yes.
So why wasn't he working and getting you off welfare before you got pregnant with the last baby?
We were having a lot of problems. They were trying to help us out with everything that we could. We were moving back and forth from place to place. We were having problems with my first landlord.
Listen, the government wants to give away their money to families who are actually living together. That is something that I am not going to rectify in my lifetime, although I would like to try. What I resent is welfare is supposed to provide people with their basic necessities, not enough money to save. You know, people who earn $25,000, $30,000 a year can't put away $200 a month because they have to use that money to pay for rent, gas, electric, telephone, medical, all kinds of other things, medicines, you know, so even if you're working and working hard and earning a moderate amount of money, you can't save $200 a month. Here, you're saving $200 a month on the taxpayer for Christmas presents. That's ridiculous, if I believed you. So, go ahead. So you had saved $600 so far for Christmas, and you gave him the $600.
I gave him the $600 and told him to go down and to the bail bondsman, and they said that they would take $600 to get him out. I gave him the $600. I couldn't go down there. They said that I had to be at least 23 to sign the papers. I'm not 23, so I couldn't take the money down there and sign it.
How old are you?
I'm 21. So I asked him to take the money down there. He said his sister would co-sign with him. Supposedly they took the money down there. He called me back and told me that the bail bondsman wanted more money, that a charge from New York came up on him. So I went...
He's some Butte. So he's got stuff from where? Where do you live?
Trenton, New Jersey.
So you live in New Jersey? Well, it's not far from New York to New Jersey. He gets around. What happened to the $600, Mr. Hill?
All right, Your Honor. First of all, everything she said is bogus.
Listen to me. I asked you a question.
Yes.
I said,
yes,
what
ma'am.
happened to the She gave you $600.
Yes, she
that
did.
you agree with?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
My question is a simple one, Mr. Hill. And I'm getting hungry.
Okay.
You understand? What happened to the $600?
It went right back into her hand, Your Honor.
When?
Right after I tried, my witness here, Miss Irvin, she took me to the police station to bail him out. When they told me it was not enough money, I then plus 155 of my own because she asked for extra money to go help pay the fines off before he can get bailed out. I never even asked her for that money back. The following morning, she tells me the money's missing. Someone's stolen the money. I have nothing to do with that.
She told you that someone stole that $600?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, he got up in the morning and came downstairs and told me that in the middle of the night he found my front door to my apartment standing wide open. He said the apartment got cold, he came down, used the bathroom, and the door was standing open to my apartment. I was going to my room to go see where my money was. My money was gone. He claimed that somebody came in and took the money.
Miss Fessler, you following what I'm saying, madam?
Yeah,
I want
but
you to
I'm
listen
saying
to me very carefully.
what he's saying is
I want you
true.
to listen to me very carefully. We're starting with this premise, Miss Fessler, that the money you gave him, the $600 to bail out your boyfriend, right, was money that the government intended for your children. That's what the taxpayers gave you the money for, to feed and clothe your children, not to use for Christmas presents, and certainly not to use to bail out your drug addict boyfriend. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Now, it matters not to me, and I'm telling this to you from the bottom of my heart. If he stole that money and used it for, I don't know, bought a whole new outfit, had his hair done, I don't know, whatever he did with the money, right? That to me is no worse than what you did, taking the money away from your children to go bail out your boyfriend. What difference does it make to me as a representative of the government what happened to the misappropriated money? It wasn't meant for your boyfriend. Put your hand down. By giving the money away for bail, you are stealing the money from your children. You can't do that. You get it? Good. So I am totally disinterested with what happened to the $600.
Okay.
All I know is, as a taxpayer, one thing remains firm. The boyfriend is probably where he belongs, and the $600 was going to get misused, whoever used it, you or him. And I don't care. I got other fish to fry today. What difference does it make to me is whose con it is, his or yours? Now, what other money do you claim he took from you?
He took $200 from the Red Cross that they had gave me. My apartment had burnt down on December 4th. We both were given cards from the Red Cross. I had 722. He received 200 and something. I don't know exactly how much. I had asked him to come into the hotel room with me for a minute to watch my kids while I went to go call my mom. I came back in to get my kids. My mom was taking us to New York to go to court with her.
For what?
She's having a problem with two of my other sisters in New York.
Listen to me. Get to the story. The Red Cross gave you money, and you claim that he took out some money from that card.
I got to New York to take the money off the card so I could buy my daughter something to wear. My card was not there. He was the only person in the room. I have a police report stating where the money came from. It came from an ATM machine from a store that's right down the street from where he lives. I never told him the money came from an ATM machine from a store. When I called him, he told me that there's no ATM machine in the store down the street. I never said anything about a store to him.
Did you steal any money from her Red Cross card?
No, ma'am. You had the cards that they gave us. They give you and only you an access code to those cards. You understand? She asked me to watch the children. My room was 2 doors down from her. I kindly came, watched the children. How can I take something within a matter of seconds?
They have an envelope. They give you the card.
I don't know. All I'm asking you is, did you take her money?
No, ma'am.
They put the card inside of an envelope. They put the card inside an envelope, and on the envelope is the PIN number. He knew it too because they gave him the same thing.
So we had the same PIN card?
Just a second. Do you work?
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Shh. I don't want to. Who do you work for?
I work for National Fidelity. I work. It's like it's a loan officer. I'm a junior loan officer.
Do you get paid a weekly salary?
Yes.
How much?
I earn $600 a week.
Really?
Yes.
What's the name of your boss?
John. Oh, that's his first name.
What's his phone number?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Phone number. What word didn't you understand?
I can't. I don't know the phone number.
What's your work
offhand.
phone number?
Excuse me. My work phone number.
Yeah, that would be another.
Like,
what word didn't you understand?
Your Honor, everything is stored in my phone.
People deserve each other. Miss Fessler, your case is dismissed. Listen, when the government wants to give people money, the government intends for the people to use that money for its intended purpose. The fact that your Red Cross, also money that you never earned, the Red Cross, I'm speaking, you lost your house with money that was given to you by the state.
But he still took it from me.
I don't know whether he did or not.
My sister was there with me. He admitted, he told my sister that
different
he
story.
had the money.
Come. Your name?
Tia Dixon.
Where do you live?
I live with my boyfriend.
And what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm going to school right now.
What school do you go to?
Mercer County Community College.
How many credits do you take?
I
would know that.
She just started.
I just started. I'll start back next Monday for the second semester.
So you're not... Oh, please. All right, you say that this young man admitted he took money from...
He admitted it. When she called him about it, he admitted to her that he took it.
How do you know that?
Because I was...
Don't speak. Because?
Because I was sitting there.
Sitting where?
I was sitting with her.
Yes.
And he admitted that he took the money and he started cussing her out.
What do you mean, you were on the phone?
Yeah, on the phone. She had chirped him up and she said that she wanted her money back. He said, first he started cussing her out. He said, stop calling me about this. You call me about this one more time, you and your kids. He said, I got the money, you not getting it back. And before I even heard all of that, she called me and said she was going to finally get her money back. She went down to the bail bondsman to wait for him.
I'm not talking about the bail bondsman. You didn't understand what I said about the bail bondsman. I'm talking about the ATM.
The ATM card. He went and he took the money off the card. He said that he took it. He admitted
it about that he took it.
He was on the phone with her and he admitted it.
Just a second. He was on the phone again with her at a different time.
It was a week ago. This happened a week ago.
Ms.
I called
Fessler,
him.
your case is dismissed. I'm not happy with anybody here. Why don't you all spend a little more time trying to do something productive and a little less time figuring out how to scam the system? Goodbye.
Sandra Allen says Former employers Dasher Lindsay and Ralph Isles owe for babysitting fees. The defendants are countersuing, claiming Sandra made false accusations to Child Protective Services.
Miss Allen, you did babysitting for the defendants.
Correct.
On several different occasions, several different periods of time. And it is your claim that you are owed some wages because you were let go from your job.
Yes.
And you had worked 30 hours.
Correct.
The defendants, while they seem to acknowledge that you were owed wages at the time you left, they say they really owe you nothing because you made a false claim to Child Protective Services about the way that they care for their children, and they are counterclaiming in the amount of $3,000 because of what they say that you put them through. Miss Lindsay, when and where did you find Miss Allen to babysit for your children?
Well, Miss Allen was our children's first babysitter.
And you have 2 children?
We have 3, ma'am.
How long did she babysit for you?
This last time was for 9 months.
And prior to that?
It was off and on for a number of months.
And she was a good babysitter?
Yes, ma'am.
Took good care of your children? You felt
Yes, ma'am.
comfortable about leaving her with the children?
We trusted her, yes, ma'am.
Good. Miss Allen, then I'm going to come to you. I want you to tell me what happened that caused you to call Child Protective Services and when?
On numerous occasions, the kids would not have enough to eat. They would ask me, can I have some more? I was like, well, there's no more food. And I would offer them, like, okay, give me $100. I'll be more than happy to go to the commissary. It's base where the food's a whole lot cheaper. And, you know, I'll get the food and stuff like that for them. No big deal. No, no, no. We're going to go out. We have our monthly budget. And every end of the month, they go to Sam's and everything, come back with the same thing, and we do the same thing over. The kids' shoes were too small. I purchased a pair of shoes for the 4-year-old girl. We had to go up 2 sizes, and that was in the end of '06. I bought the shoes for her, and I started working for them in August. So that time, her shoes were too small. We bought the baby shoes. She was not a year at the time, and the kids were not getting baths. The dad would go out of town. Every other week, he'd go out of town. No big deal. Mom said it's going to be a long week. Could you give the kids a bath? And I would. But when Dad comes home at 5:30, I would not give the kids a bath. I come in at 10:30 in the morning. The kids had the same clothes on that I put them in the day before. I was like, did you guys get a bath? No, 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 Miss Sandra, could we get a bath? So I was like, well, it's time to get dressed, so we'll just change clothes, and we'll just go out and do our stuff and everything.
What did you tell Child Protective Services when you called them?
That the kids were being neglected and weren't being supervised properly.
Go ahead.
On one occasion, Miss Dasher told me personally that the neighbor down the street came in and told her that the oldest son was sitting, they have a 2-story house, and the son was sitting out on his window throwing things out. And the screen's missing, so he was throwing things out of his window.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Lindsay?
I'm a cook.
For whom?
For a company called Sodexo.
You work full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
And you, sir?
Systems analyst for the same company.
Well, you both have good jobs. You've been working for a while for this company?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any financial problems?
No.
Miss Allen, before you called Child Protective Services, did you discuss with Miss Lindsay and Mr. Lyles your concerns?
No, I did not.
You did not. Who is this lady?
It's my mother.
Would you step up, please? Tell me your last name. When, if ever, did your daughter start to discuss with you the concerns she had about these children?
It was last year. She was seeing different things, and in our area they have a lot of yard sales, and she asked me if I would go out if I could look for clothes in the children's size and shoes because they were too small, or the winter time. What she said, I'm not sure if it was the 4-year-old didn't have clothes that would fit her for the winter, so I was trying to find jeans and turtlenecks and stuff. And she would bring them over to the house sometime, and I would fix some lunch and everything because she would say the cup of noodles, that was all they would be eating for lunch, and the sodium in that soup thing was kind of high for a child. So.
Did she discuss with you before she called Child Protective Services?
No, but she told me that, you know, something needed to be done about what was going on, and I told her, you know, do what she needed to do.
Okay. Do you have the report from Child Protective Services? I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am. I have 2, the original when they first came out on the 20th, and the second from the actual caseworker.
How many times did the caseworker visit you in the 2-week period between the date that the report was received and the day they closed the case?
Just twice. The first time, which is A, and then the second time, which is B, when they closed the case. Because on the first visit, she stated that there was nothing but discrepancies in the claims, that the allegations that was made.
Okay. Miss Lindsay or Mr. Lyles, do you have any motive for Miss Allen to have placed this call after the years that she spent with you taking care of your children.
Possibly, yes, ma'am.
Well, I'd like to hear what you think the possible motive is.
That Monday, before the 20th, I believe it was the 16th, Miss Allen came in, normal day. I had spoken to her in regards to, we was paying her extra stipend for gas because she would pick our son up from school. So we give her extra money on top of her pay each week. Well, gas prices in our area were rising. And she came to me and she stated, Miss Dasher, the news said by Memorial Day, gas prices are going to be sky high. Can I please get more gas money? And I said, well, how much do you want? Because I was previously paying her $20 extra a week for gas. She said $30, and I said, fine, no problem. Okay, that was taken care of. Right before I was getting ready to go to work that day, I reminded Miss Allen that we were soon to be putting our two oldest children, the 4- and the 5-year-old, in private school, in which we was going to be paying for private school, and the only one that would be left would be our 2-year-old. And once we're paying for private school, we wouldn't be able to pay her the same amount that we pay her currently for her nanny services.
Well, how much were you paying her an hour?
$7 an hour during the week, and if she worked on the weekends, it would be $9 an hour, plus the
So you wanted to pay her
gas.
less than $7 an hour?
I didn't want
No,
to.
we were cutting her hours back. That was what we were telling her.
Oh, you were just cutting her hours back?
Yes, it was more like a pre-notice to possibly a 2-week notice when the children started private school. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, and what did she say?
She didn't state much. She said, well, that's fine. By August, I planned on having moved out of my parents' home.
So she wasn't upset about it?
She didn't seem upset, no.
No, she wasn't upset about that, so that's not a reason. I don't see any reason that she would have, quite frankly, Miss Lindsay, of making this phone call unless she had some legitimate concerns over the 3 children. And the fact that the state didn't find any gross abnormality in your house doesn't mitigate the fact that she felt as if you and your husband may have been a little overwhelmed with full-time jobs and 3 little children, working very hard. You have financial things in the works, private school and all that stuff. Whatever it was, I don't get from Miss Allen that she was being vindictive about anything. You have a reason she might call?
I mean, my sister told me that she was going through personal issues.
Well, first of all, that's hearsay. Second of all, going through personal issues would not necessarily mean she would take it out on you.
Well, it doesn't make sense that she would call. The things that were going on did not happen. I mean, she put our kids in danger.
How did she put your kids in danger?
Because Child Protective Services could have took them away.
Well, they could have if they found that they were substantially neglected or abused. They absolutely could have, but we don't discourage people in this country if they have legitimate concerns from making a report to Child Protective Services so that somebody can come out and take a look at a situation and make sure everything is right. Problem is, too many people don't do anything. And unless I find that there was some motivation other than legitimate concern for the children's safety, I'm dismissing your counterclaim and she's going to get the wages that were owed to her. Her mother seems to say, who is a lady that I assume you knew.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
That her daughter had confided in her previously that she was concerned about the children.
She never confided in us. Up until that day, Miss Allen and I had never had any problems communicating.
You may not have had any problems. Do you remember when she bought your 4-year-old shoes?
She bought my 2-year-old shoes.
Or your 2-year-old shoes? Do you remember when she did that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why she did that?
I had just bought my 2-year-old shoes. She
Yeah,
did
we
it
have
because
the 2 pairs of shoes.
Yes.
It is unlikely that she would have spent her money, the hard-earned money that the $7 an hour, which is the minimal
She didn't have
amount.
any bills.
What?
She didn't have any bills.
I have bills.
She didn't have any bills, so she should spend the money on your children?
No,
We never
she liked
asked
doing
her
things
to.
for our children. She took them to McDonald's. She did things for them. That was.
So she
you know,
was a really good caregiver.
Yes, she was.
We're not
Well,
She
denying
had
that.
no right to
something-
call Child Protective
Yes,
Services.
she did.
There was nothing wrong with the way we
That's
raised
the
our
way,
children.
that's your perception. But if she's the kind of caregiver that you say she is, to her eye, these children were not being adequately cared for while in your care. And before the state takes children away, there has to be some overriding reason because they got plenty of children in foster care. So if it's a question of children not getting more than noodle soup or not getting a bath every day, they're not going to remove children from a home. But that doesn't mean somebody who loves the children, as she clearly did according to you, should tolerate what she perceives as neglect. So your counterclaim is dismissed. You owe her $226 salary and $30 for gas. Pay her. That's all.
Maggie O'Miller claims Teresa Chaidez is in possession of a ring belonging to her. Teresa is countersuing, claiming Maggie embarrassed her at her place of business.
Miss O'Miller, it is your claim that the defendants are in possession of a ring that is yours.
That's right, Your Honor.
And it is a ring that left your possession at some point. You don't know how, you don't know when, but you saw Miss Shadez?
Shadez, yeah.
Shadez wearing the ring in a store. She was employed in the store. You looked at the ring, and since you say it was a unique ring made for you, you were sure that it was yours. You told her it was yours. You went and got the police. They came back. She said her boyfriend or fiancé had given her the ring several years before. This is the fiancé, Mr. Tapia, who says that he purchased the ring, that he paid $1,000 for it, and you want your ring back or money.
I want the ring.
When did you have the ring made?
In 1991.
By whom?
By Creations in Gold up in Seattle, Washington, and this is the jeweler and her husband that made my ring.
Well, who made the ring? This lady or her husband?
Her husband, and he's since deceased.
All right. Did you work with him?
Yes, we had a store together.
Were you the designer or was he the designer?
I was the designer mostly. He did the fabrication.
Stand up. Did you personally do it or did your husband do it?
We both did.
And you remember this particular ring 15 years later?
Yes, I do.
Where did you get the model from for the ring?
It was our design. My husband made
Can I see the ring, please?
Ring for me first.
What do you mean he made it for you first?
A ring like it.
Just a second. He made a ring for you like this first?
Yes.
And then he made another one for Miss O'Miller?
Yes.
Was she a friend of yours?
We met in a restaurant and she approached me and said, "May I look at your ring?" And I said, "Yes." And then she asked, I said, "My husband and I have the store." And then she came to the store.
Where's the one that your husband made for you?
Right here.
Let me see it.
Yes.
Do you want another one that he made? These were made together at the same time.
I just want to see the one that he made for her. Okay. Well, these are practically identical.
Yes.
Except the gold is different. Yours is heavier. One that she says is hers is lighter. Practically identical. And your husband, did he surprise you with this? Is my question. Did your husband surprise you with this ring?
Yes, he did.
So that you are not telling me the truth. What's your last name?
Grenzner.
You are not telling me the truth when you say that you designed it with him. Because these rings are practically identical. And if what you're telling me is that your husband surprised you...
Surprised me?
Listen to me. Surprised you with your ring, that means that you didn't design it. That means he designed it.
We designed it, but he surprised me, and I got the ring for Christmas. Yes, he surprised me with the ring, but not with the design. That is the truth.
Madam, that's a lot of double talk.
No.
If your husband surprised you with the ring, that means that he designed it and gave it to you as a surprise. A husband doesn't say, "I want to surprise you with a ring. Let's sit down and you design it, and then it's going to be a surprise." Husband says, "I'm going to surprise my wife for Christmas and give her a ring, which he designed." And then when she came in and wanted a ring similar to yours, two of you may have gotten together and say, "Well, we can make a ring very similar to mine." It's not exactly the same because this is more weight. This is less weight than yours. You understand that. But you did not design it. Sit down.
Can I show you one that he designed to go with that ring?
No, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Not necessary. There's nothing unique about this ring. You've been around jewelry as long as I've been around jewelry. This is, may not be exactly the same, but it's not unique. Now, when was the last time, Miss O'Miller, when was it that you actually saw your ring that either is this ring or is similar to this ring?
Approximately about 3 years ago.
Where did you see it 3 years ago?
In my home.
When did you first miss your ring?
Probably about a week after I'd moved.
Which was when?
3 years ago.
Do you have a police report?
I never made a police report because I didn't know at the time it was lost or stolen. I just thought I'd misplaced it, so I didn't call.
Well, maybe you lost it. Is that possible?
Possible.
Did you have a moving company move you?
It was a small moving company that had moved.
So the answer is that you had a moving company move you.
Right.
So 3 years ago, you did not make a report of any stolen property.
Correct.
So you did nothing.
Nope.
Now, where did you buy this ring, Mr. Tapia?
In Indio, California.
Where?
At a pawn shop.
Had you ever been to that pawn shop before?
No, it was my first time there.
Do you remember who you dealt with there?
No, I just remember taking my grandmother with me, and it was $1,000, so I asked her to loan me $500 of it.
You gave him $500?
Yes, I loaned him $500.
Did he ever pay you back?
Yes, he paid me $100 a month for 5 months.
Okay. So?
So I believe that's my ring. I could tell by the flat back. That was one of his trademarks. It's like the one I have now.
Miss O'Miller, this is a legal issue. If I believe Mr. Tapia that he purchased this ring at a store for $1,000, he becomes what we call in the law a purchaser in due course for value, which means this ring is probably worth no more than $1,000. It has very tiny stones. Doesn't have the, I don't know how much you paid for it.
$3,000.
Well, you overpaid. You can give this back to her. Let us say you lost the ring. Let us say somebody else found the ring and brought it to the pawn shop. In commerce, there's a rationale behind this rule. In commerce, unless you're dealing with a car or a boat or a house, which has to be in writing, if you purchase something and if you purchase it for value, you get the title to it. Now, if Mr. Tapia bought this ring on the street for $50, then he is not a purchaser in due course for value. Then he is on notice that this may be a stolen ring, because nobody sells a ring that's worth $1,000 for $50 unless it's stolen goods. But I believe him, and I believe his grandmother, that they paid $1,000 for this ring. That doesn't mean you get it back.
First of all, his name was not Topia when I was going through all this. His name was Estrada. Then I got a phone call from a man claiming to be a lawyer representing Mr. Estrada. The man that subpoenaed these people with their warrants talked to the lawyer that he's...
Just what kind of warrants? What are you talking about, warrants?
Well, you know, when you go and form... How do I say it?
You went to her place of business where she works as a salesperson. You saw the ring. You said, let me see the ring. She showed you the ring. You said, where did you get it? She said, my boyfriend gave it to me. It's an engagement ring. You said, I have a ring like that. I think it's mine. She said, no, it's mine. You left. You went to the police. You brought the police back to her place of employment because that's her counterclaim, that you embarrassed her. Okay, so now we're at a point where you brought the police back to her place of employment and you said, that's my ring, and it must have been stolen. Is that what you said?
No.
What did you say?
I went home, called the police, and said I saw my ring on her finger at Mathis Brothers.
Okay.
The police lady said, he'll meet you in 15 minutes over at Mathis Brothers.
So then you went to Mathis Brothers, and she was there, and she said, it's my ring.
Can I say something? The officer did say it was stolen, that she said it was stolen. But in front of me, she said it was lost.
So far, I haven't heard any libel, slander, or defamation. She didn't accuse you of stealing it.
Well, when she brought the cops...
You were embarrassed.
I was embarrassed.
You were embarrassed, but that, you know, that's unfortunate. But she's entitled to do that. She said, it's my property. I want it back. Okay, so...
Then I talked to him, and he said, well, for $1,000. He said, it's probably a ring, and for $1,000 you could have it back. And I said, why should I buy something back that's mine, that I feel is mine?
Is that what you said to her?
No, I said that I bought the ring for $1,000, and if she wanted it, she'd have to pay me $1,000, which what I paid.
Is that what he said to you? Well, that's different from what you just told me, Miss O'Miller.
What did I just say that's so different?
You can have it back for $1,000. That's different from saying I paid $1,000 for it, and if you say it's yours, I'm willing to give it back to you, but you have to pay me what I paid for it. That's different. One has a positive connotation and one has a negative connotation.
I can see how you said it just then, yes, I can.
No, see how you said it.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'd like to know why all of a sudden his name became Mr. Topeka.
I don't know. I have a very long name myself. Judith, Blum, Levy, Scheindlin. My name is very, very long. That has nothing to do with the fact that you lost your ring 3 years ago, and you can't have it back. This may be your ring. It may not be your ring. Why in the world would I ascribe to these people any kind of criminal behavior 3 years away? Now, if you told me that he was one of the people who moved your property from one place to another, I would say, aha, a light would go off in my head. Did you work for the moving company that moved her?
Never have in my life.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Well, you can't go around, you know, accusing people of having property, stolen property, and believing that it's stolen. Return this, please. Miss Shades?
Shades, yes.
Yes, it's yours. Miss O'Miller, sad that you lost your ring. I would have felt much better about it if you had reported it to the police stolen. You did nothing. And who knows what happened to it in 3 years? It may have fallen in a truck, and 2 months later, somebody found it in the truck and said, I don't even know where this came from. Said, I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to sell it to a pawn shop and see what they give me for it. He sees it. He goes with his grandmother. He says, I only have $500. Can you lend me the other 500? I believe his grandmother when she said that he paid her back. You don't get your ring back, Miss O'Miller. She also doesn't have to pay you for embarrassing you in the store. She didn't accuse you of stealing it.
Well, when the officer came, he said that, you know, it was stolen. And, I mean, I felt embarrassed when he comes into my job and, you know,
you don't
she made me lose time off of work. And she also had my address with, I don't know how she got my new address. I just moved into a new house. I feel like she's stalking me.
She's not stalking you anymore.
She has.
She's not stalking you anymore. She is entitled to sue you. Listen to me carefully. She's entitled to sue you. She had a good faith basis to believe that this was her property. And quite frankly, unless you could establish to my satisfaction, which you have, that you were a holder in due course for value, which means you paid value for this ring, I might have returned it to her if I believed it was hers to begin with. But I believe that you purchased it, and I believe you purchased it in good faith with your grandmother. I believe you paid value for it, and therefore the title is clear, is in your name. Do we all understand that? Good. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Paxton Durlow is suing tattoo artist Breezy Barrett for breach of contract on the bartering of a vehicle. Paxton says Breezy was supposed to tattoo him in exchange for a truck.
Mr. Durlow, you traded your truck for services to be performed by the defendant, who's a tattoo artist. She paid some in cash for the truck, is that right?
Correct.
And the remainder was to be worked off in this barter arrangement. Is that right?
There was also a bike included in the deal as well.
That you got?
Yes, correct.
Your claim is that Miss Barrett did half of the tattoo and then modified the agreement that you had to complete the tattoo by telling you that you could only come for your appointments between 9 and 12 at a time when you work, therefore requiring that you go to somebody else to have the tattoo finished.
Correct.
That's what you want to pay for, plus some harassment nonsense. Everybody's been harassed. You know who's most harassed here?
You.
And Miss Barrett says that you caused her to lose business because what you did was you kept canceling appointments. And in addition to that, you sexually harassed her. So she's counterclaiming. When did you make this deal with the truck?
I'm not exact on the dates at all. I mean, I have the contract, I guess, in here. So
okay, so let me have the contract, please. Okay, so the sales agreement requires that the tattoo is to be completed in 2-hour sessions, no more than 3 weeks apart, unless otherwise agreed to by the parties, and that's dated 7/21/06, correct?
Correct. Yes.
When did you start the tattoo?
I was already in the middle of tattoos. This deal came on after I was already getting work from her.
So when you were supposed to start it in 2-hour sessions, according to the agreement?
Yes, that would have been starting that date.
So? What happened?
Well, the appointments were going well. Then I would get an occasional push. She would ask me if I could come in on a different day because there was a person that absolutely had to have that appointment. And it was a way for her to make money and that she was a sole provider for her home. So I agreed. And then it became redundant. And then
what?
I didn't agree any further. It started getting to where I couldn't get anything done.
Did you ever cancel appointments yourself?
The last time that I had an appointment to go to was one I canceled.
How many times did she change your appointment?
I believe 4 times, maybe even more.
And it was always because she had a paying customer?
A paying customer or something came up. She did have a mother who was terminally ill, which I fully understood. And she also changed appointments there, too, which I did not consider in the claim.
Okay. When did she tell you about this business of only coming in the morning?
After a discussion of me not getting anything done, the whole conversation was via text, and I have it, if you'd like to see it.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to see pictures of the truck as well?
No.
Okay.
Not necessary. Oh, well, here's your problem. Breezy, you're Breezy, right?
Yes.
Here's your problem. It is clear to me that the two of you have a dispute in these text messages with regard to whose fault it was, etc. You know, clearly you were not yourself as a result of your mother's illness, because that's clear from these emails, and that there were certain stresses in your life. But when you say to him, in the future, you shouldn't off your artist until after the work is done would be enough for me to say that you breached this contract and I wouldn't let you do any work on me. That's a threat. I mean, I don't know anything about tattoos except that I've seen them. They're done with needles, right?
Correct.
I wouldn't let anybody near me with a needle who said to me I wouldn't take any action until after it was all done and I was happy. You want to say anything to me?
I would love to.
Go ahead.
After 6 months of tattooing on him, I canceled 2 appointments.
Well, that's too many.
One being I'm a sole provider of my children. I only work 5 hours a day because I have preschool pickup, drop off, daycare closes.
Whatever. Listen, he's not your mother. He's not your sister. He's not your brother.
He was a
you
friend.
Just a second. You canceled 2 appointments. Not tragic.
My second appointment I canceled was because his appointment was 2 days after my mother died.
You canceled the 2 appointments.
He called and made 4 appointments, 2 weeks, 2 hours back to back. No-showed on every one of them. I only work 5 hours a day. You no-show. It's right here.
He says that that's not true.
Right here.
It's in pencil, Your Honor.
It doesn't matter if it's in pencil.
Let me take a look at it.
That's my appointment book. Here's my apprentice who helps make all my appointments.
Do you remember independently making these appointments?
She wasn't there at that time.
Just a second. Just answer my question. Do you remember independently making these appointments, yes or no?
During that point in time.
Just answer my question. Fine. Thank you. I want you to give me the date of the first appointment. Would you give that book back to her, please? Give me the date of the first appointment you say he missed.
Monday, January 15th.
What was the next one?
1/19/07.
Well, that's not 2 weeks apart.
No, he called after no showing and said, sorry, can you get me in? So I did. I slid him in.
Okay, well, that's not 2 weeks apart. First you told me he made appointments 2 weeks apart over a month and didn't appear. So now it's 1/15/07.
Okay.
Then Then you said he called you and said, I'm sorry, could you fit me in? You made it for 1/19/07, and then you say he didn't show up.
Then he had February 4th.
Go ahead.
Then he had February 16th.
Can you show me, Ms. Berendt, anywhere in these text messages where you say that he missed appointments on the 15th, the 19th, or February 4th, which is why you decided to change the rule, because you have a lot of emails going back and forth, a lot of bad language going back and well, from your end. But there isn't, according to what I see here, one place where you wrote in your email that he missed appointments on January 15th, January 19th, or February 4th. And all of these text messages were written on February 6th. Not one place do you talk about 3 missed appointments.
Those are his text messages.
Show me yours.
That phone was dropped in the toilet. Oh. But he could easily have left off the first 4 emails for you.
He could have. And your phone maybe could have been dried off from the toilet. You have to take care of the rest of his tattoo. That was your contract with him.
I never had a problem with that.
That was your contract. How much will it cost to finish the tattoo?
It's an estimate because, I mean...
How much is the estimate?
I have it right here if you'd like to see it. He believes it to be between $1,440 and $1,800.
Can I see, please?
It depends on the work.
Where is it? Is it on your arm?
It's on both arms. And
got it.
There's not more than $600 left there.
Well, then you should have done it yourself.
I would love to.
Well, you can't because you threatened him. Okay. Now, you also don't mention anywhere the sexual harassment that you talk about. You want to tell me about it?
Yeah, the entire time I worked on him, it was fondling me, grabbing on me. I leave my wife for you the whole time. That's why she's here.
Okay, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. The counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Tanya Blishak is suing her former co-worker, Julianne Rouse, for startup money to sell Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Ms. Blishak, according to what I've read in your complaint, you and the defendant worked together in a hair salon period of time, and in addition to your regular work, you were making some money on the side selling Mary Kay Cosmetics. You tried to get Ms. Rouse to become a representative for Mary Kay and claimed that you sold her a quantity of product. You put it on your credit card because she asked you to, with the understanding that she would pay the credit card bill. She paid some, but not all, and you want the balance. Ms. Rouse says that you sort of pressured her into becoming a representative. She paid you back a total so far of $1,400 for the product that was purchased, according to her, without her consent. She stopped selling the product. She still has 6 boxes of it at home that you're welcome to have because she says she's paid enough.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I sold it for about a month.
That's a fib that you just told me, because you told me a moment ago that after a month, so that means that you were at least selling the product for 2 months.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tanya Blishak says former co-worker Julianne Rouse owes for a loan to buy Mary Kay Cosmetics. Julianne says the makeup was forced on her.
When did you start to sell Mary Kay Cosmetics?
September of 2001.
And what percentage do you get of what, for instance, Miss Rouse would purchase from Mary Kay?
At the time, I did get 13% on her order, but I would like to state...
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I just want to say that I explained to her completely and full detail that she does not have to order any inventory whatsoever. It is for her benefit to have inventory if she wants it, so that she can give it to her customers when they buy it from her. That's completely her option. She doesn't have to do it, and she chose to do one of the big ones.
When did she purchase this product?
In April of '04.
And how much did she purchase?
She purchased a $2,400 order.
Now, tell me under what circumstances you financed her order of $2,400.
It was with my credit card.
Why?
She had been a customer as well before, and I had no problems with her financially. She paid her orders. There was no problems. And she wanted to get started with a business. She said she didn't have a credit card and you can't pay cash. And she wanted to do it, and I told her that I would help her out. She was going to pay me back the next month, and we were going to be done with this.
From where was she supposed to get $2,400?
I don't know.
Who do you live with?
My husband.
Have any children?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How old?
7 months.
And you were working full-time?
No, ma'am.
Part-time?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I wasn't working for a while. I was going to school, and then I went back to work part-time at the salon. And at that time, my fiance at the time were living with roommates. We didn't have our own place.
So when you purchased this stuff, Miss Rouse, it was your intention to make this a part-time job?
Well, I was working part-time at the salon, and then I left there right about the same time this all happened to work full-time at a travel agency.
So was it your intention to work part-time selling Mary Kay Cosmetics?
At that time, yes.
Who selected the product that was purchased?
Miss Blishak did.
Without your input?
I didn't input. She did it online, and she ordered the things that she thought I needed at the time. And then about 5 weeks later, I needed different products. I had to place another order on my own to get the products that I needed for my clients.
So you were, in fact, working?
For a little bit, yes.
So why didn't you finish paying her for the product?
And in the beginning, I did not want to sell the Mary Kay. She kept asking me to join. I thought if I joined it, it would be over and done with after the $115. So then after this, I decided that I would try it out.
Well, that's what she's talking about.
And she told me when she did this that I would be able to pay her back in a month because you would make so much money selling these products within the first month, as she did. At the time, I couldn't do that. I was working full-time.
Well, that happened later. Miss Rouse.
Within the same week,
Miss
it happened,
Rouse,
ma'am.
listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
There's something about buyer's remorse, which means that at the time you thought it was a good idea, and all of a sudden it didn't look so good after it was done, as opposed to someone who fraudulently sells you something. I'm not getting the sense that Miss Blishak sold you anything fraudulently, especially since you ordered more product a month later. And you paid her $1,400. She paid you $1,400? When did you stop paying her?
August was the last payment I gave her.
And you were paying her prior to that time because you were selling product?
I sold it for about a month.
Or more? Because that's a fib that you just told me, Miss Rouse. Because you told me a moment ago that after a month you ordered more product to sell to your customer. So that means that you were at least selling the product for 2 months.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Sounds to me, Miss Rouse, as a case of you didn't plan on getting pregnant, you planned on working full-time, you planned on selling this part-time. It all didn't work out because you left a part-time job, went to a full-time job, then you got pregnant, then you stopped working. Are you working now?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You better start selling some Mary Kay Cosmetics because you owe her some money. How much does she owe you with interest on your credit card?
$1848.02.
Can I see that, please? Why does she owe you $1848? What kind of interest they charge you on your credit card?
It was 12.9.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You have 6 boxes of product left?
Yes, ma'am. I have a list of everything I have.
Good. You better start selling it, Miss Rouse. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,848. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Brandy McCant says, Gentlemen's Club owner Joe Meridian and graphic designer Farron Young used a picture of her on a club flyer without her permission.
Miss McCants, your claim is that you went to a photographer and had some photos taken of you.
Yes.
And those photographs were subsequently used without your permission by a gentleman's club. Who is representing the gentleman's club?
I am, Judge.
And your name is?
Joe Meridian.
For flyers to promote the club, and it was used in such a way as to depict you as a pole dancer. You were a college student, and you gave no permission to Mr. Meridian or anyone else to use the photographs for those purposes. Mr. Young is a graphic designer who somehow got a hold of those pictures on the internet and created the flyer that Mr. Meridian used. So you're suing both of them.
Yes, I am.
Mr. Young says he got the photographs from the internet, from what he believed was a free site where anybody could take pictures and use them for commercial purposes. Mr. Meridian says he's not responsible because he didn't prepare the flyer, and all he did was commission somebody to do it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, unfortunately for you, Mr. Meridian, that defense for this flyer won't fly, because the buck ultimately stops in the place where, if it was used improperly, it was used commercially for you, and you benefited from that photograph. So if I find that that happened without the plaintiff's permission, then you are responsible. Now, you have the right to sue those people that you think are responsible for getting you in hot water, and that would be somebody who you say created this flyer, but ultimately you're responsible. Okay, let's go back. When did you take these photographs and why?
These photographs were taken in March of 2008, and I did them with a photographer, David Garnes, as a test shoot.
Do you have pictures? Do you have the test shoot photographs?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Okay.
So they are provocative pictures, right? Now you can return them. And let me see the site, Mr. Young, where you got these pictures from.
Shows a disclaimer also.
Right
A disclaimer on the website, Your Honor.
Can you show me where you say that this is a disclaimer and you can use these for free?
Well, he said disclaimer.
No.
I'm just showing
Now, I
you.
want you to come up here and point out to me, or take this pen and point out to me here where it says, not that that's dispositive necessarily, but point out where it says that you can use these for free.
Can I elaborate?
No, I want to look where Mr. Meridian says that he thinks you can use them for free.
I didn't say for free, Your Honor. I just said disclaimer for using the photos. It says use for your own projects.
Yes,
records.
it says that you can use them for your own projects. It doesn't say you can use them for free.
Exactly. That's what I said I wanted to do.
Go ahead.
Okay, see, when you go to official PSDs, you can log in, right? And then you buy pictures that are exclusive. Now, the website also have a public domain.
You used this picture in creating what flyer, sir? I want to see the flyer that you created.
And she has a flyer right there.
We discontinued the flyer, Your Honor.
Of course.
We also changed the name of the club.
Oh, well, it's exactly the same picture, madam. It's exactly the same picture. They didn't take your head and put it on somebody else's body,
Your
or your
Honor.
body
Not
and
at
put it
all.
on. This is the exact same picture that you took.
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah.
Quiet. Correct?
That's the photo that I took.
That's the photograph that you took. Okay. Not difficult. You cannot use her pictures for commercial purposes without either getting her permission or paying her. Do you understand? I'm going to say it again. You cannot use her picture, her likeness, for your commercial purposes without either getting a waiver from her or permission or paying her.
Well, how much do we have to pay her?
Right. Today, how much do you have to pay her today? $5,000. That's what you have to pay her today.
But
Just a second.
Okay.
Because if she took these pictures for her own purposes and she didn't give you permission to use them, it would be no different from you going on your television set and taking a picture of me And then, because I'm out there, I'm free, right? I'm free.
Sure.
You can go and take a picture of me. You can take a picture of me. I'm walking in the street. You can take a picture of me. Somebody takes a picture of me and posts it on their website, and it's free. He takes a picture of me. You're the photographer, right?
Correct.
He takes a picture of me and posts it on his website. We're going to make this easy. He takes a picture of me in the street, posts it on his website. Don't look confused, sir. We're getting there.
I'm an educated man.
We're
I
getting
understand
there.
what you're saying.
Don't look confused. We're getting there.
I got you.
Takes
so
a picture
far.
of me, posts it on his website. Your graphic designer says, I know how we could get a whole bunch of people in our gentleman's club. I'm going to take Judge Judy's somebody else's body, if you really want to get a customer, and put her around a pole. Now, shh, the picture is free. It's up there. He's posted my picture. Do you think that you have the right to use my image to get people to come into your club without my permission and without paying me?
See,
the answer is you do not.
But that's different.
No, sir. It's not different, Mr. Young. It's exactly the same. Now, let's say that there's a disclaimer on here.
Okay.
Let's say that it says free, you can use it free, and all these people are 21 years or older. And you say, oh, that's fine. I can use these, and they're all 21 years and older. And one of them turns out to be 14.
Oh.
Listen to me. One of them turns out to be 14. And you make her into a pole dancer, and you make flyers of her. Do you know where you're going to find yourself? In federal prison. And your defense of, I didn't know she was 14, she looked 21, they're going to say to you, that doesn't matter. That's kiddie porn. And you can't accept somebody else's statement here that it's free, just like if you meet a girl at a bar and you go home with her and have sex with her, and she turns out to be 13, and she's dressed like a 35-year-old, and they arrest you for statutory rape, you can't say to them, she told me she was 20, and she looked like 20, I didn't know. You know where you find yourself? In federal prison. Now, I want you to listen to me very carefully. You cannot use somebody else's likeness for your commercial purposes without getting a waiver from them and without paying them if they want to be compensated. Do you get it? Don't argue. Do you get it?
Get it? I don't agree with it.
Then move to Namibia or someplace else. I don't care where you move to. In this country, you cannot exploit someone.
Well, Your Honor.
Listen to me. You cannot exploit someone.
She exploited herself by putting herself all over the internet in a bikini.
No, my dear.
If she didn't want
my dear,
herself-
she didn't do that.
What were those shots for, Your Honor?
Listen to me. He did that.
Then
He did that.
she should be suing her photographer
Just
then.
a second. You used it for commercial purposes.
I didn't use it.
Yes, you did.
I didn't pay this gentleman.
Listen to me. You used it for your own commercial purposes. If you think that you have the right to implead, which is sue the people who got you in trouble, do it.
All I'm saying is that...
Just a second. I'm not talking to you. Do it. But you used the flyers, you generated income from the flyers, and you are responsible for ensuring that anybody whose image you use, you have permission to use that image by either consent or a contract that pays them money. That's your responsibility. That's the buck stops. Now, you could say, listen, I was misled by somebody, so I'm going to sue them. You have the right to do that. Right now, the two of you are going to pay her $5,000. Now you can sit down. Now, you're the plaintiff.
Yes, I am.
Sit. Now you can stand back up again. Has he been sworn?
They've all been sworn.
All right, you're the photographer.
Yes, I am.
You're suing them.
I'm suing Farron
You're suing for what?
for using my picture for
That's
commercial
too
use.
bad. For using the picture without your permission? That would come under the category of too bad. Did you have her permission to post her picture on the internet?
Yes, I did.
Let me see it.
I don't have it.
That's too bad that you don't have it. Where'd you think you were coming to today? A tea dance?
No, I wanted to tell you.
Did you think
because-
you were coming to
No,
a
I
tea?
I recently joined the army.
No.
Yes, sir.